With that out of the way, allow me to introduce our esteemed guest, Kaylee. Kaylee grew up in multiple towns in the Lower Peninsula of Michigan. As a child, she frequently relocated, but in middle school, she found comfort and friendship in creating song covers, writing, and voice acting online. After years of chasing her dream, you can hear her as the colorful cast of characters, including Koching from Genshin Impact, Rappy and Alice from Nikkei, Alice Zuberg from Sword Art Online, Emilia ReZero, Clara from Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, Kuna speaking and singing, and so many more. Beyond being a voice actor, Kaylee is also a professional writer, lyricist, and singer with a certification in audio engineering and a YouTube channel with a following for her cover songs. She has also sung and appeared in a music video for a single released by J-pop singer Yoon Chi. She is part of a virtual idol group Interlunium, an 11-member group that releases original music and story. She even designed her own character, Akira. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Kayli Mills.
I'm super excited to be here. I did actually live in Ann Arbor for a little bit. I went to Slauson Middle School. Yeah, yay, somebody. But yeah, I'm really, really happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was about to say, thank you for coming back to Tree Town. How does it feel to be back in Michigan? Does it just feel normal?
It does. It feels like home. My parents both still live here too. My dad has like a lake house on Pinckney, so like that's not so far away. And it's really nice to be back, especially like I haven't actually been in Ann Arbor proper, I think, in like 10 years. So that's really cool. Everything's very different now. Still an awesome town though, so.
Yeah. So, let's get into it. Despite your roots here, you've traveled the world studying, and you've had quite the journey. You went to Japan, Australia, and now you live around LA, is that right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like traveling has informed your voice acting or career, and how?
I'd say so. I think just getting different experiences and more importantly, like meeting different people just gives you so many different perspectives that are really helpful in being a person, but also like in being an actor, which is kind of about being a person. And I don't do a lot of accents, but Australian's one I sometimes kind of do because I lived there and got yelled at for my bad one. So if you need a bad Australian accent, I can do that. Yeah, I've been really lucky to get to move around a lot. I was part of Lansing Community College's program when I went to Japan, and then I came back, and then I went to University of New South Wales in Sydney, and then I dropped out of school to be a voice actor. Not saying that I'm telling you to do that. Stay in school, but I did drop out.
No, but that's awesome. I mean, I think that's important to be able to pick that out for yourself.
Yeah, I think just like always being open to possibilities, like everyone's path, you might not go down the path that you originally think, and being open to pivot is important. So definitely like, have something in mind, but if you find you love something else, it's okay to pivot, and that's not a failure. Yeah.
So you've had to do a lot of different roles as a VA, from grizzled war veterans to innocent-sounding but secretly devilish girls, and plenty in between. Do you have a particular genre of character that you like to play?
I honestly love that I get to play so many different characters. Like, you don't have to have a huge range to be a voice actor. Like, Steve Bloom is always Steve Bloom, and he's amazing. But I do love getting to play with my voice and characters. I am very partial to Clara from Welcome to Demon School because she is just off the walls, crazy, fun, and then she just has a heart of gold. Like, she's just all 100%, 110%, and then she just has like the sweetest, most heart-melting moments, and I love playing her. Also got to play her during the pandemic. Like, I started her before and then was recording in my closet at home when it first started before I got a studio. So it was just like kind of a dark time for everyone. So to get to play a character like that I'm really lucky, and I'm still recording her right now, which is crazy.
Yeah. You didn't you write like the music for one of the things?
Yeah, the first season we dubbed the songs, and I got to write all the songs. But Clara also has a bunch of family members, and I play all of them. So I got to play and sing all of her family members. She has 4 brothers, a little baby sister, and her mom.
That's so cool. I guess this segues nicely into the next question that I had, which is that if you could spend one day with a character that you voiced, who would it be and why?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I would definitely choose Clara.
That makes sense.
Oh my gosh, she would be so much fun. I think one day I'd probably be good for a week with her at least. She's a lot, but I do love her.
All right. You've done a lot of VA work, and I am sure that has come with a lot of learning on the fly. What are some of the skills that you needed to use in the recording booth that you weren't expecting when you first got into the industry?
So I feel like when I first started, like I wanted every audition to be like so perfect, and I would do like 20 takes to get to one thing. But the truth is, when you get into the booth, you kind of have to just look at a line for the first time and just do it. And you have a director there, and they're going to be like, okay, we want it this way, but you kind of have to have a good idea of what was happening before, what's happening in the scene, and understanding like where the writings go, and like really good cold reading skills to be able to do this job, because things move so much faster than you think. So like just practicing reading, like cold reading at home and stuff was like really important to just be able to look at something for the first time and just do it.
Yeah, could you go into that with cold reading? Like what does that feel like for you?
Now it's just like a natural thing, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look at this real quick. I'm gonna make a decision on like based on my character, kind of what's going on and what my character wants, and I'm just gonna go for it and feel it out. Versus, oh, what should this sound like? So, like that's part of like as you kind of grow as an actor, it becomes less about what should this sound like and more of just okay, I know where I am, and I'm just gonna read it now, and it's gonna come out that way because I know what I want and what I'm feeling.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you thank you for that. I
Yeah.
really like getting some insight into the process and what that looks like. Is this like does it feel like it's something where like you are like when you were reading you go like 2 or 3 sentences ahead, or is it just like you're doing it sentence by sentence?
If I can, I try to read like a couple sentences ahead, but sometimes it's so fast you like really can't. A lot of the time you will get like an A and a B take. So sometimes the A take is great, and a lot of the time the A take is okay. Now that I've gotten it out, I know where I want to go with this. So that's really helpful too. Though honestly, like when we recorded Nikkei, at least until recently, it was so fast. It was pretty much just like one take, and as long as it's decent, we move on. It's so fast paced. Like we're doing like 300 lines in like an hour and a half, like crazy stuff.
That's pretty bonkers.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, okay. I think that that's actually a really interesting question. I'm gonna go to the one about industry standards, where you've worked both in like these big, huge industry like things like Nikkei, and also like more indie breakout titles, like famously Class of '09. In your experience, how does that feel like collaborating with sort of smaller creators versus larger industry types?
I really love working with indie creators, and it's a completely different thing because indie creators are not bogged down at all by like the client or what they want, and so like they have this amazing creative freedom, which also means you can be a little bit more collaborative. You can be like, oh, like what if we add this in here, and it's completely up to the person usually you're talking to. Like Max, who made Class of '09, he did everything. He was the director, he was the writer. Besides have like commissioning artists, he pretty much did everything. So like it was really cool to work with him, and he's like an evil creative genius, and he scares me, but he's really good at what he does. Every client with other things, like if it's not an indie project, is different. So just kind of adjusting to what they want and what the director is trying to tell you. But I mean, in the end, the acting part's the same. But yeah, I really love working with indie creators, and I think we're seeing more and more indie projects get big, as they should, because I feel like the industry for a while was so stagnant because these like high up producers just want to put so many like reins on these things that could be so amazing, and these indie creators are just doing such fantastic things now, like Digital Circus. I've had friends that work on
Yeah.
that, and it's just blown up, and it's incredible. So
That show is like
Yeah.
it really feels like they've gave the voice actors a lot of opportunities to breathe and do things
Oh,
like at their own pace. And
yeah.
all right. Speaking of the process and the experience, a lot of voice actors, yourself included, have commented on auditions being a tough part of the business. Do you have a method for getting through the frustrations and anxieties of rejection?
You get used to it. It happens a lot. Even if you've been doing it for years and you're in a lot of things, I still get rejected a lot. Rejection usually looks like just not being told anything about it. You usually don't get a rejection email for an audition. You do. You get told if you get it. You get told if you're unavail, and beyond that, use your imagination, I guess.
You said unavail?
Yeah, you get put on avail, meaning that they want your availability. So that usually means that they either want to cast you or you're like in the top 3 and they're trying to work out scheduling already. But that a lot of the time you'll get put on avail and then you won't hear anything. Or maybe you'll hear something 3 months later because they've changed schedules or they want you for a different character. But the thing is, like, even if you don't get something from an audition, a lot of the time, like, they will listen to your audition and be like, oh, well, you're not the perfect fit for this, but like we have this character down the pipeline 3 months later, we're just going to bring you in for. So like, I don't know if anyone's heard of the anime Kakegurui. I play a character named Runa.
She's great.
Thank you.
She's a wonderful character.
I actually didn't audition for Runa. I auditioned for Beatrice and ReZero, and they used that audition to say, like, we want something like this for Runa.
That's
So,
really interesting.
yeah,
So
you-
like, was it are they the same directors, or was it just like this was the casting agency that was like we
Same
took this
studio.
same studio,
So same
okay.
casting director, but different directors in the booth.
Okay.
So yeah, they're just like, do you remember doing this? And they'll play it, and I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, we want something like that for this character. Then of course she's a different character from Beatrice, but they kind of wanted that like specific, like nasally kind of funky voice, and we went with that, and it was really fun.
That's so cool. That's really cool. I like that they're able to like identify talent even when it's not for the specific thing that you're auditioning for.
Yeah. So
That's-
that's why it's like good. Like even if you're like, oh, maybe this character is not like perfect for me, like I have an idea for it. I would say just like go with whatever idea, even if it's a little bit wacky for a character, at least do like one wacky take, because you never know if they're like, this isn't perfect for this, but this other thing later. So like always give your all in auditions, because you never know when like it might come back around and help you out later.
Yeah, you like throw everything in the wall, and then some of it will
Sometimes.
stick,
Yeah, sometimes.
and some of it will get transferred to another wall or
Yeah.
something.
Create a new wall to the back rooms.
All right. Between video games, anime dubs, and other interactive audio work, what would you say has been your favorite? And what would your ideal project be?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to give the boring answer of it's hard because they're all different in fun ways. Like when I first started voice acting, like my number one goal was to be in anime. So when I first got to do dubbing, I was so excited because with dubbing, you have the picture, you get to like preview what you're going to do, and then you get to do it to picture. So you're like watching yourself real time with your voice coming out of this character. And there's like something so cool about that, because you're basically seeing not the mixed product, but kind of the final project of it, like right there while you're doing it, which is very, very gratifying. Video games I really love because unless you have super heavy time constraints, you have a lot more freedom with what you can do. If you're the first person to do the character, like I was with Jekka or Masako from River City Girls, I am the original performance for that. So I like actually get some say, and I get to play around, and I get to, like, collaborate with the director a little bit more, which is I really love being able to do. So my dream project would be, I would like to work on like a big AAA game like Last of Us, in the vein of that, and get to be the originator of a character that just goes through an incredible journey, and that I get to be a part of with like a really ambitious like director, creator.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off of that question, do you have a dream character that you would like to voice, and why?
Yeah. So my dream character has always been Raven from Teen Titans. Because when I was in elementary school, I used to dress up as her and run around the house with my friends. We'd play Teen Titans, and I just feel like that would be so full circle. So yeah, I mean, it could have a chance later. Like there's always different versions of Raven that show up, and Tara Strong isn't the only person who voices Raven anymore. So I'm like, maybe I could have a chance at like, some MOBA version of Raven, or maybe they'll do like a AAA game with her in it, and they'll have a different cast or something. Who knows?
You
But
could like subliminally let people know by
Yeah.
like starting to show up to places in
I
Raven
know.
cosplay and being like, I can do it.
Tara Strong's performance as Raven, like, so good. so amazing.
All right. Let's talk about one of your other passions, music. One of the tools in your arsenal are your music production and vocalist skills, making you a pretty versatile performer. You did a stint as part of Yunchi, as mentioned before. You're in Interlunium, and you may be spinning off a potential VTuber persona. Where do you see the future of this kind of interactive engagement, streaming, doing covers, originals? How do you see that going?
I have, like, from the time I was in middle school when I started doing like song covers, I really loved the aspect of working with other vocalists and like creating a production. And it was so much more simple back then. We all turned our lines in and we used like whatever the original video was or like a picture. Now production is so heavy with everything. So I would love to get to the point where I can produce something, being able to hire artists and animators and something for like a big production. Like a bunch of VTubers did some songs from Epic the Musical, which I love so much. And I would love to be in something like that where like I can kind of do like artistic direction, work with other talent and weave something together that's original.
It's like a really interesting scene, right? Like to be
It's
part
so
of
cool, yeah.
like the visual video like and music experience that exists now. Like the amount of production that goes into like HoloLive videos as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
I
like
don't have HoloLive money, so that's a problem.
yeah. Yeah, I think or before this we were talking about Narissa and how like, you know, the amount of effort that goes into those productions. It's
Yeah.
huge.
I think some people don't realize it though because they're like, oh, they're working for a big thing like HoloLive. Of course, they have like a big budget, but like those talent work so hard and have put so much effort in just to be able to get the chance to work for that. And it's awesome that they now have the budget. But like, I know some of those people behind the scenes in their life is like their heart and soul is poured into these things. And it's just really incredible to see people who really deserve that chance get it. So shout out to Narissa.
Shout out to Narissa. What is one of your favorite lines from a project that you've done recently that you can perform without breaking NDA, of course?
I wanted to choose one from Class of '09, and it took me a really long time to find one that was appropriate for a library, but I'm going to try. Well, my parents actually name me Jessica, but I just go by Jekka, because Jessica just screams married at 20.
Cool. So we've been talking a little bit about the process of you know, the voice acting experience from like line reads to cold reading to interview stuff. But if you had some advice that you would like to give to an Arborite in the audience who might want to be VA, get started in VA or online performance, what would you give? Well,
I would say just create stuff. Do stuff for fun online. Don't be afraid for it to be perfect or to be at the level of like, oh, is this going to be good enough to like get an agent or anything like that? Just start having fun. Have fun with your friends. Make animations. Find animators that are going to school for that and collaborate with them to make your own things. Just work as a little group. That's how a lot of indie creators that are amazing now started. And once you get used to that, you can kind of branch off into figuring out what you want to do. If you want to audition, there's so many things online now, more than when I was getting into it. You don't even have to move to have like some pretty big opportunities now, which is great. So you can really go for it where you are first. There is a great website called, well, there's a couple. There's iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. And then, I know it sounds silly, and then there's Voice Acting Club. Voice Acting Club is run by Kira Buckland, who is a really amazing actor, but they just have a million articles. They have a Discord server where they have casting calls and like anyone who can help you with your tech needs or anything you're working on if you want feedback. And those are just amazing, amazing tools to start with.
yeah, so you're saying that there's like a whole community now that's like supporting
yeah.
people getting into this. Okay.
We had a Voice Acting Alliance back when I was a kid, and that does not exist anymore because it just had so many viruses when you would visit that website. But we survived those days, and now we have Voice Acting Club, and it's better, so that's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And they can give you advice on like equipment, for instance.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know, like what microphones you want to be using, you know, how you can soundproof your closet or things like that.
And and there's like every level too. So like there's a lot of professional voice actors in there. I'm in that Discord. I have a couple of friends who are audio engineers that like work on anime and video games. They're in that Discord. So like you get like feedback from people who are actually doing this professionally, which is amazing to just be able to have that at your fingertips. And people are happy to help.
Awesome. All right. All right. Serious questions from here on out. Not that the previous ones haven't
Like
been.
I'm scared.
You've referred to yourself as a donut gremlin. What is the story behind that?
The gremlin part came from just like my friends. We were in Japan in 2018, and we were all sharing. It was like 6 of us sharing like the tiniest, like 300 square foot little apartment when we were in there. It was just like one room. I was just like trying to open the door and going crazy. And I was like, "You're a gremlin." And then it just stuck from there. And I like donuts. I've always liked donuts. But during the pandemic, one of my favorite things to do is to go try like a different donut shop every week and like review them. So if you go back and like my Instagram posts, I'll just have like these deep reviews of donuts. So it became a thing after that.
Do you feel like the donut selection in Japan was more versatile, or do you feel like
I think America does donuts a little better.
Oh,
But
okay.
there's some good donut shops in Japan, and they're like really getting better now. But like America has some great ones.
Okay, America
Yeah.
#1, I guess.
If you're in California ever, go to Sidecar. I think they have like some other locations too, mostly in the West Coast though, but like they're the best.
Shout outs to Sidecar.
Yeah.
Following up on that, what is a favorite donut flavor and why?
My favorite one is probably just like a classic buttermilk bar, because when that's done like right and it's just warm and fresh, it's just perfect. It's just there's nothing better. There's really not. Just simple. I say that, but Sidecar is my favorite, and they like have fancy flavors, but like still buttermilk bar is my favorite.
Anything that's been like a recent trend for you?
Ooh. We had this really good, like it was like a vegan one, but it was like matcha with strawberry glaze. That was super good. Hmm.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. All right. Anything that you would like to say to your fans who might be in the audience?
Thank you for liking me. That's crazy. I don't even do that most of the time. No, I really, really appreciate you being here and listening to me talk. And I'm really excited to answer your questions if you have any more. Yeah, I'm really, really happy to see all these faces. So thank you so much for coming here.
Yeah. At this point, I'm going to open questions up to the audience. If people have any questions, they can raise their hand, and I will run over and give the mic over. We'll be doing this until about 12:45, 12:50, and then we'll start heading down for the signing event. All right. I guess I will start with all of these hands went up at once. I'm going to start with you in the front, and then I will pick the person in the red hair in the back.
Thank you. First, thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
You're
nice
welcome.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Question
too.
I have is, so with acting, there are different approaches like method acting, classical theater.
Mhm.
With voice acting, are there similar types of approaches or training?
Yeah, so essentially just having an acting background is helpful. So like it's basically the same acting. The only real difference is that no one sees your face. So sometimes depending on the medium that you're using, you have to use your voice to get something across, because like slight movements or facial expressions aren't going to come across. So just having the basic acting background, you can take any kind of acting classes. Theater is amazing because it's like a little bit more accessible a lot of the time. On cameras I've taken to help, any different kinds of things you can do. But there are also a lot of like voice coaches, like voice acting specific coaches, and a lot of them do like Zoom classes online. So I would say like trying to find those classes from somebody whose name you recognize, who's still working, or who's worked recently. Those are the main things that you want to do with that. But besides that, it's just different kinds of acting, practicing speaking, and if you want to even like watch an anime and subtitle and you know try and match what they're doing and saying it out loud, reading out loud, all of that stuff is helpful.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm a really big fan of like you. I like your like voice acting.
Thank you.
I'm especially a fan of like your work as Clara in Demon School, which is my favorite anime.
Oh, thank you.
And I just had like a question. So you mentioned like you want to be Raven someday, and did you know? Fun fact: for the original like Teen Titans show, Tara Strong auditioned to play Starfire, and Raven's voice actor Starfire's voice actor auditioned to play Raven, and in the episode where the two of them swapped bodies, the voice actors actually betrayed the other characters so well, like, you know, like they didn't switch voice actors for like matching the body. And it was like after that episode, they started voicing the opposite character. Like Tara Strong voiced, well, yeah, that's how you say her name. Sorry, it's just Tara. Like I grew up in Ireland, and Tara is pronounced differently in Ireland. It's pronounced Tara in Ireland.
Oh yeah.
So sorry, that's beside the point.
You're good.
So my question is, have you ever had that happen where you audition for a character and then you get a different character?
I usually, so sometimes they don't even send auditions out for certain characters. Like for Union, I auditioned for Megamine and I got Union, which I think is pretty funny. So yes, that's one instance. And then also, like I said before, like I might audition for one character and they're like, oh, that means that you'd be good for this one. So yeah, it does happen quite a bit.
Awesome. Any other questions? I will do in the purple here, and then who raised their hand here? The power.
So, so you mentioned that you did the music for at least the first season of Iruma. I'm pretty sure everyone who did watch it realized that the music for the most recent seasons did not get the chance to be dubbed, even though it was a musical.
That is correct.
Did they just not ask you, or was there like some sort of like studio hang up?
It is about the client. I believe that between the first and second season is when everything was happening with Sony and Crunchyroll. And I think they kind of just decided not to do it. However, people have been complaining, and I think there's a possibility something might happen in the future, but I don't know for sure. I'm not saying it will, but I am going to be there if the opportunity comes up. So if it's in my power, I will get them dubbed.
Hi, I'm a big fan of your work with Clara. She's my favorite. Love her so much.
I love the Clara so much.
I was wondering how you got to voice her. Like, did you go in wanting to audition for her? Was that an other character? How did that start?
So with that one, actually, it was kind of funny. My roommate was working on the time coding. So time coding is the process before the writer gets to it, where somebody goes through and they write the time code of when each line starts. And she was like, there's this like green character in here that like seems like it'd be a really good fit for you. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Hopefully like I get to audition. I didn't. They just cast me as Clara, and I think that was the same thing because of the Beatrice audition, because of the Runa audition. They were like, we want something kind of in that vein, and they just gave me Clara, which is incredible, and I love her so much. I was like, why you guys are just giving me things? I feel like I need to earn it a little more. I don't know. So I try to earn it every time I go in.
All right. Any other questions? I see this boy in the back, and then I will go orange, and then girl in the front with the bow.
What's your favorite part about being a voice actor?
I don't have to put on makeup and do my hair most of the time. Even if I'm not working from home, the studios don't really care. So I get to go in and I can be a beautiful silver-haired elf, and I can look like a hot mess in my pajamas, and it's awesome.
What is the most emotional role you've had to voice?
Oh, that's a hard one. Recently, I would say, it's not super recent, but Rappi and Nikke, actually. Yeah. So if you've only kind of seen some, like, surface level things for Nikke, you're like, oh, is this just, like, some, like, a little slightly inappropriate game? Like, no, actually, this has an amazing story. And Rappi's arc in the Footsteps event, where we see some of her backstory. Because for those who don't know, Rappi, when you first meet her, kind of comes off as a little bit of like an emotionless, kind of distanced character. But you come to find out her story, and I guess I can kind of spoil it now because it's been a while, but she was like sickly as a child. They did some experimental stuff on her. By the time she was like a teenager, she finally got out of the hospital. And then she's like killed at a rally that she's like interested in seeing like instantly. And then she becomes a Nikkei and just loses her squad and the people she cares about over and over, to the point where she feels like she doesn't deserve to be there. She's just going to lose everyone, so she shouldn't get attached, and it's really sad. And then it's like her kind of coming to terms with that, with Red Hood, who is the person that she looks up to, and who kind of her life was, she kind of absorbed her life basically when Red Hood died, and basically comes to terms with, I can be myself in the future. I can carry on this person's legacy without becoming her, and it's just a really beautiful arc of a story that I got to do. It's really special when you get to voice a character like her, where it was 2.5 years or so before we got to do that. So it's just over that long period of time, and I'm still voicing her. So you really become that character. And so like I really felt it when we got to go back and do that. It didn't feel like I had to really think about it. I was just feeling it through, and that one's still like really important to me.
When me and my dad were looking at your thingy on the website, you said it said it. You voiced Anna from My Hero Academia.
I do, yeah.
I watched the movie, but it was before I finished My Hero Academia, so I never really got to watch it again. But who's your favorite from like the show?
Oh, Bakugo is my favorite. I love him. Love my spicy little guy.
I was going to sneak back in here also to ask a question about Anna. I also a character I think who was original to the anime and not. I don't know if it exists in the manga. I haven't read much of the manga, but like, how was the process of creating the character for her?
That was interesting. So for one, that was another character that I was given, and it was actually Mike McFarland, who unfortunately has like late stage brain cancer right now, but he's an amazing director, he's an amazing actor, he's an amazing person, and they just called me up one day, and he's like, "Would you like to play this character in My Hero?" And I was just like, "Yes, I'd like that'd be really great, thank you." And then my agent got mad at me because I accepted it without going through them first because I was so excited. But it's fine. Yeah, so basically we just had to create her character in the booth. He kind of explained some of her story, showed me a couple of her scenes, and we just went for it. Originally, he's like, well, I listened to your performance as Emilia in ReZero, and then of course her voice sounds nothing like Emilia, but I guess that kind of was like where he got the idea of me being able to do that character from. So that's another example of just things you do before as you grow as an actor, like they'll just bring you these other opportunities. So yeah, we just kind of did all of the whole movie in one day. And it was a really emotional arc for her because it's one movie to do her entire story, which I thought it worked great for her character. But like, wow, that was a lot to go through in the span of like an hour and a half or however long the movie was.
Yeah, you keep talking about how like compressed some of these emotional arcs are for you as a voice actor.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to learn how to separate things in a healthy way and just take time after you're in the booth, because there's plenty of times where like I'll have a character who's been crying for like an hour, and I thankfully almost every director I've worked with is like, hey, do you need a minute? And they'll give you little breaks in between. But sometimes you just finish a session and you're like, I don't know where I am right now, and you just stare, and it's okay. So you just have to learn to give yourself those pauses. Therapy helps too, honestly. Like I'm serious. Like therapy is, I mean, it's important for everybody, I think, but like it's really important to be able to learn how to like recognize those emotions and work through them and live through them and accept them.
And to be able to like center yourself after the fact.
Yeah, like one time this was March Comes In Like a Lion. It's a really good show, kind of went under the radar. I voiced a character named Hina, and she had a big scene where she'd been just bullied in school, and she's trying to like be strong for her sisters, but she goes out by the river and just starts crying and just has like this complete heartbreaking meltdown. And I had to record that scene a few hours after finding out one of my childhood friends died. And I will say that doing it that way was like not the best for me. And I was like young, and I was just like, I want to give my best performance. And so like, if I use this emotion now, I can. But it was like, that took a lot of working through after that. Since then, I got recommendations from directors I've worked with of like, it's okay to use scars, but don't use open wounds. So that's a good thing to keep in mind, I think.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Sorry to bring the mood down.
No, you're fine. Like, voice acting isn't always, it's not always highs and, excellent booth takes all the time,
No.
and you go home feeling incredible every single day. Any other questions? Let's see. I'm going to do front and then red shirt in the back and then green teal shirt. Yes. Okay.
Hi, first of all, thank you for coming to Ann Arbor. When you're headed to the booth, I know that it's very often very important to keep your voice warmed up and making sure that you're ready to knock it out of the park in as few takes as you can. So in that process, what are some, say, tongue twisters or vocal warm-ups that you like to do to help warm yourself up?
Yeah. So I'm lucky in that one of the vocal coaches I had a few years ago made me like a little warm-up CD for different parts of my voice. So I'll use a different one depending on what I'm doing. But the basics, like ones that I really love to do are like trills. So like those kind of ones, especially if you do like these like alarms. So it's like the highest to the lowest, so like kind of like that kind of thing. Sounds silly. It's really good because the thing is like when you're doing trills like that, you can't tense your voice. It's all like your breath support's always going to like be in a proper place, so you're not hurting your voice doing it, which is why trills are great for warm-ups and cool downs. Also just the typical like me, me, ma, mo, like that kind of thing. Those are great. Just different kind of like warm-ups, like do 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 do, and then like sometimes it's like on like a guh or like just different things to get different parts of your voice warmed up. But it doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to have a piano. You can just kind of like the first thing I did works real great. Just kind of you sound like a crazy person, but that's okay. Like I did it in public, and my husband took a step away from me this morning. So yeah.
Continuing on with what we talked about with Gods of Victory Nikkei, you went from Rappy in year one, you went from Rappy who was stoic, kind of monotone, and then you played the cute little bubbly girl Alice. So how was it to do the same series but completely different characters and like completely different like aspects of them? Like what was the mentality of going through that?
It's just really, really fun to get to do that. We do them one character at a time. So I think like back when Rappy and Alice talk to each other, we do like all of Rappy's lines first and then Alice's, which is cool because I knew how Rappy sounded when she was talking to me. But yeah, since they're in completely different spots of my voice, getting to separate like that, it's really, really helpful in making them sound completely like different people, because they are in completely different headspaces. They're completely different characters. Alice is like just so happy and innocent and sweet. And then Rappy is very like matter of fact and strong and a little funny sometimes. So yeah, it was great. And then of course Only One now, who's Rappy's daughter, who's not her daughter. She'd like you to think that. So we just recently, I think it just came out with the Only One. So I was really proud of that performance. But literal child too. So that was really fun.
Hi there. I'm a really big fan of your work. You inspire me every day. My question to you is, how do auditions work? Are there different types of auditions? Do you go into a booth, or is it just all from home?
Yeah. So most of the auditions that I get now, I get through my agent or through a studio that I've been working with. And either they ask me to just audition for like one or two specific ones that they have me in mind for, or they're just like, here's a bunch, pick a couple. And then basically I'll record from home. I'll record 1 or 2 takes depending on if I have like a completely different idea for a character, and then just send them in and wait. There are a lot of casting calls in public now. So like if you go on like the voice acting club, there should be like a ton of casting calls, and those are usually like a public document, and they'll have instructions on what to do. So they'll be like, hey, make sure you like label your files like this, make sure you do your takes like this, and then send them to this email with this subject line. And that's usually how it goes. Occasionally I'll go in for auditions, but it's been a really long time. I think it was like pre-pandemic the last time, and it was just really cup of tea. It was like the studio, they do Fire Emblem and a lot of those games. And they were like the only ones doing in-studio auditions still at the time. And this was like 2016 to 18. But yeah, really almost all from home now. Yeah.
All right, we still have time for questions. Let's see who else. Pink shirt, and then I'll do red shirt, and then I will do guy in the cap.
And if you run out of time for questions and you come up to the signing, you can ask your question to me there one-on-one too.
Hello. So I was wondering, do you normally read the manga for shows you act in, or do you just go in blind every time?
I like to read the manga when I can. The cool thing now is that usually well, we do simuldubs now, which means that we don't have the anime quite then. But when we are a couple weeks behind, we can watch the episode before we do it, which is pretty cool and not something we've always had access to. But when I can read the manga, I like to, because a lot of the time we do get different sides of it. ReZero specifically, I read the web novel as well, because all those translations are available, and there's a lot more to it because they have to cut a lot for the anime. And so I get a lot more of what's going on inside the character's head. And since I also write that, I like being able to use that so I can really make sure that I'm on track with it. But yeah, it's a great question. I think if you can read all of the material, like even if you're going for an audition, if you can find the manga of that audition and get to know that character a little more, I think that gives you like a big leg up too.
What is the hardest character you've had to voice?
For me, I think at the time it was probably Alice from Sword Art Online, because up until that point, I had not really voiced any characters that were like lower than my natural voice. And she's like, I am Alice Synthesis 30. She's like down there. And for me, that was like unheard of at the time. And I got yelled at a lot by my director, but I ultimately became a better actor and able to use that part of my voice more. But she was a really interesting character too, because when I first auditioned for her, I just auditioned for like the little kid version of her. And then they're like, okay, now you have like a deep voice and you're like an adult. I'm like, okay, cool. So it was really, really difficult, but really rewarding and fun.
You mentioned being able to do voice acting even here in Michigan, but what kind of impact did you see when moving to LA? Did you find that moving to LA increased drastically your network/opportunities?
It did, but that was after years of doing some work here first. So I did some work with like some local studios, some commercial stuff. At the time, I was on a website called voices.com, and that was like where you could get some auditions. So I'd work on like some smaller games, some of like the point and click things. When I moved to LA, it did change a lot, because then I was opening myself up to like the studios that work on anime, the bigger video game studios, stuff like that. So I think if you can get whatever work you can here, and honestly, you can do more here now. Since the pandemic, they have learned finally that they can remotely record. I think they're forgetting again, so they need to remember, but they definitely can. So it's definitely possible to be working even on like these AAA games from here. It's just definitely easier at the moment to live in LA after you've built up a little bit of a resume, and get those opportunities there.
Cool. I think we have time for like 2 more questions. It's front and then back there.
What's it like voicing in Konosuba?
That is such a fun one. My character particularly is just so sad and so funny. Yeah, it's a riot. I was a fan of that show before I got to audition for it. So again, I auditioned for Megamine and Aqua and Wiz actually. And I was like, oh, I really want to get Megamine because it's like the same actor as Emilia, and I just really love this character. And then a couple weeks later, they're like, we cast you as Yun-Yu, and I was like, that is the most Yun-Yun thing to happen ever. So I had a riot working on that one. And Alex Von David, he also directs Sword Art Online, is just a fantastic director, and he does his own writing too, and he's really funny. So he did a great job with it, and that just made it so much fun to work on.
Who was your favorite character to voice act?
If I have to pick a favorite, I still probably always will pick Clara, back to the beginning. She just always makes me happy. I always leave my sessions, like no matter how bad of a day I've had, I leave my sessions feeling like so happy after I voice Clara. She's just sunshine incarnate with really sharp teeth and nails.
Second favorite?
Second favorite, I want to give it to Emilia. I used to watch ReZero as it came out on Crunchyroll on Wednesdays while I did like ab workouts in the living room. And so this is one of my first anime roles ever. I didn't think that like anyone, because most of the anime still goes to Texas. So I was like, okay, there's not even probably a good chance that like any LA studios are going to get this show to work on. So I freaked out when I just got the auditions for it. And then I was like, there's no way my voice is pretty enough to voice Emilia. And I booked it. And I was like, I'm going to get recast now. They made a mistake. And it still could happen, I guess. I don't know. We're almost 10 years in, but I'm still like, I don't know, man. No, I really love Emilia. I especially loved working on Frozen Bond, which I got to write also. And then season 2, where we got more into her backstory and she faced some of her past and really became more fleshed out as a character. So, and the fact again that I'm going to start working on recording her again next week, and we're still recording her after all these years is like really cool. So that's a really full circle thing of me of like, oh, I was a fan of this, got to audition, I got to write on it, and now we're here. Yeah.
I'm gonna sneak back on stage. Everybody, give Kayli Mills a.
Oh, no, you guys. Thank you. Barely anyone left. You guys listened to me yap for almost an hour. That is amazing. Thank you.
We're going to probably start making our way down to the first floor for the signing event. As I previously mentioned, there is also going to be the cosplay panel from 2 to 3:30, and then there's going to be the cosplay contest from 4 to 5. And of course, the vendors will close up at 5 p.m. So make sure that you pick up whatever merch that you were looking at before then. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.